Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geek First Review. I am the unlimited bread sticker, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by
Uh-oh, I am Kirklin Patzer.
the Wesker.
Just uh-oh.
Oh,
I am the Blade Taylor Field.
oh man, what a name! But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to review Resident Evil. Now, this probably would have came a little bit sooner if we didn't have Comic-Con, but Comic-Con threw a monkey wrench and some. But you know what? We all watched. Is that let's review it. It still hasn't even been out for 2 weeks, and hopefully there's a nice little audience out there that's going to appreciate what we're talking about today, because I think we're all fans of the franchise or game in different ways and everything like that. So, Taylor Field, where can they find us on the interwebs? Because we got a whack of content right now. Comic-Con coverage from last week, side quests, reviews, Predator retrospectives, Lord of the Rings retrospectives coming up, just a whole whack of stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you go down to the links below, and that is everything and anything we do, our audio, video. Join our Discord. Look for our separate podcast feeds, our podcast network with a bunch of different 6 to 7 different shows covering a wide variety of topics. And most importantly, head over to our Patreon, because if you want more content, you want more retros, you want more reviews, you can literally make that happen. The more you support us, the more you give back in the podcast, and the more we can give back. And plus, these tiers, there's a whole slew of different benefits, ad-free episodes, exclusive episodes, early episodes, and if you go to the very top tier, you get 3 exclusive episodes. You can call in after 9, and I want to thank the people at the producer tier, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Smalley Biggs, and Joshua Wright for taking that out, and I'm very excited because, Joshua Wright, we're going to be reviewing Fantastic Mr. Fox in August, so that's going to be lots of fun, and that's what you can do. You go over there, and you get to pick one movie or something like that we haven't done before, and we do a retrospective on it, and, we really appreciate it, and Manscaped, of course, use that, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Resident Evil, Kirkland Patzer, what did you think of this show? Non-spoilers, of course. And
Non-spoilers, of course. Overall, I feel like this show... I feel like it really had something going for it. At least like the idea and structure of the show. There you go. I was looking for an image. I was coming up short. That one looks good. I'll throw up that little ticker there. I like to have that one ready. So I really like what the I can't go into too many details without spoiling some things that happen, but there's some things that happen, and I feel like it would have made for a lot better of a show if like a lot of the writing and the characters worked for me, and unfortunately that's where it kind of fell short. I think a lot of like the visuals and stuff did work for me, actually. Like I think there is some noticeable CGI like moments, but all in all, like I think the practical effects of the zombies looked really, really good, and just like the set designs and stuff, and some of the locations, whether we're in like a neighborhood or when you are in like the Umbrella Lab or something, avoiding spoilers here, but like all that stuff, like I think that looked really good. So that's fun because I was able to like dive into the Resident Evil world, but then I found myself kind of getting stuck into these like dialogues between characters that I just didn't really care for, and I was waiting for that moment to happen when I'm like really rooting for these characters, and unfortunately it didn't really work for me. And there was a couple twists that happened, and I feel like I don't know, like it went into a different direction than what I was hoping, and then when we got there, it was just I was stuck with the meal that I got. But I don't know, like I think I was able to at least enjoy it for the Resident Evil stuff, but honestly I definitely could have taken more of that other than the character stuff, just because I don't know, maybe the characters and the writing worked for some people, but for me it really didn't. So it kind of hindered some of my enjoyment, because we have hour-long episodes, and if half of it is like trying to flesh out these characters and have some meaningful dialogue between family members or whatever the case might be, I just really didn't care for it. And it kind of had that, like, honestly, I feel like the first episode I was giving it a wave, and then the second episode is like, okay, this is what I'm getting, and then every episode after that was just more, and it was kind of making it rough. And unfortunately, it got to the point where I was kind of like, how many episodes we got? Like, how many more? Okay, like, let's power through this. And you never really want to have that, especially when they're hour-long episodes. I found a couple of times, like, I was watching them in 2 sitting segments. But yeah, I think I'll pass it along there. Like, some of the action, it was fun, but like I said, I could have taken more of that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll go because I always leave Taylor at these last because usually most pauses, but you never know. But yeah, the best way I could describe this show is at one point. So I was watching it because we were gonna review, but we weren't like 100% sure. But I was watching it like sporadically, and then I just the last 4 episodes just like binge like I'm gonna get through this. And I was sitting on the couch, and Emily asked me, she's like, "So what do you think about the show so far?" And I said, like, I don't dislike it enough to stop watching it, but I don't like it enough to like love it. And that's where I kind of am somewhere where I think there's ideas. I will say whoever cut the trailer for the show, I think did a fantastic job because that trailer made me like, man, this looks like the Resident Evil I've been waiting for. I think it has aspects of that, but I think it's got too bogged down in a lot of things. Yeah, it's just, and it's not necessarily because they do some, I'd say like, I'll just say this, and it's a minor spoiler. There's like flashbacks in the show. And there's quite a bit, and I didn't dislike them as much as I thought I would, because a lot of shows I do. But I think unfortunately there was times where I was least interested, almost like the Resident Evil like action stuff, because that's felt kind of smaller scale at times, and it felt, especially the first half, there's not much direction for our character other than she has to get to a location. And I like the show. It feels very B-rate. I will say that for a majority of the actors, where it feels much like it has that in common, I think, with the other movie, where those ones always felt like lower tier. Same thing. This, okay, well, if it's a Netflix, maybe we're gonna get some more, oomph to it. And I don't. It's funny because like I think Resident Evil is a fascinating world. And I've played a lot of the games, and I don't even remember a lot of them because I just played them all in that PS2 era when I was younger and stuff like that. And the most recent one I played was 7, which I think 7 could easily be adapted into a movie, and I hope they do that one day because that's just a nice standalone. But I think there is something about the Resident Evil world that could create a good franchise, and I thought TV was the answer, and I still think it could be the answer. But I think this was. I won't necessarily on the cusp of it, because I feel like saying it was on the cusp makes it sound like it was a lot close. Like, oh, if you would have changed a few things. I think you would have changed quite a few things to get it to that point of being great, like really great. So I think acting, it kind of goes back and forth. There's some people that are justifiable and fine. I really like the guy that plays like Wesker in the main ones. Like I liked him. He's in Horizon as well. He's like an antagonist there, and you hear his voice all the time. And then there's certain characters that, man, it's just the acting. It's not great. I don't know if it's a directing or dialogue, but you just can't like some of these characters. That you don't feel any chemistry, you don't feel any connection, and there's quite a few. There's more than one of that, and that kind of stuff. It's no good. I didn't even mean to do the Top Gun. It's no good. But yeah, it's one of these things where Taylor before Cass was talking about how it sounds like it might not get a second season. And it's not anything I'm sad about. I'm happy we did it here, but the same thing where if we weren't reviewing it, I think I would have finished it because it's Resident Evil, and I do kind of have a nostalgia love for that franchise, and I still check it out time from time. But I wouldn't have rushed through it, and I think there was some slogness to it. Yeah, it's like, I think I sound pretty negative. I enjoyed enough of it, but I would not recommend it to anyone. And maybe that's the other thing, where I'd recommend it if you're a big Resident Evil fan just to watch and say you watched it. But there's nobody I'm going around saying you have to watch this. There's some things where I go, oh, you have to watch this, but I know it's for a specific person. There's no one like there with that's the problem as well too. Even on Netflix, with so much good TV out here in this day and age, it's hard for me to say you should go watch Resident Evil. And I don't even think it's necessarily a bad show, but it's just, it doesn't ever get to that other gauge. There's some fun twists in there. There's some fun adventures. There's some fun kind of, I wouldn't say scary stuff because it's not really scary, but just some, monster design, some sort of, oh, you're in this situation, how are you going to get out? But, yeah, that's how I kind of feel on Resident Evil. I'm interested to talk about it in the non-spoilers open version, but yeah, I couldn't really recommend this to anybody as like a have to. But Taylor Field, are you going to be more positive than us on this one?
He did say he was upset about the possibility of not getting a season 2. Forecast.
I'm upset because of how, not a spoiler, how they've left it, because it's such a big cliffhanger, and I don't like having a story unfinished.
Not a spoiler, but it ends in a cliffhanger.
And this is what happens.
Yeah.
10 minutes in.
Mila Jovovich shows up
with Arnold.
You remember it with Arnold. Kill me, I mean.
But it's overall, like there were things that I didn't like. I feel like there were things that just didn't pay off. But then there were other things that I thought, okay, like I'm actually digging this. This is pretty cool. And there were a lot of familiar things too that I was familiar with. Again, my experience with the games, I didn't play them when I was growing up. My experience is just what I've dabbled in now, which is extremely light. The most Resident Evil time I've invested was in Resident Evil 7. So it's on my list because like I want to immerse myself in these games, and if that's one thing that this show has done for me is that there's so many Easter eggs that I was familiar with by watching like videos and stuff and just like deep diving into it. But these are Easter eggs and things I want to experience in the game because they have such a cool nostalgic factor that's incorporated in them. I thought, okay, this is such a cool world, and I know that the movies have a much more blatant like, boom, this is it. This is an Easter egg we're running with. Whereas the show, they had a lot more subtle things that were incorporated in, and some of the reveals I thought were really cool and stuff along those lines. So, I'm more on the positive side of this show. That being said, there were some episodes where it was just like a lull. It's like, oh, I'm whipping my phone out. How long do I have to go to get through this? Just stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, something would happen and be like, holy shit, this is a crazy moment. I'm super into it. And yeah, I do think as far as characters go, like Wesker, it's not a spoiler, you know, he's in there. I think the actor that portrayed him was absolutely fantastic.
Looking like Feige's gonna snap him or something.
Yeah,
Wesker, you like whispers?
Wesker.
yeah.
Well,
Cool.
let's get into spoilers. We're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll get into it. So if you've not seen it, tune out, or if you don't care, now's the time. Just follow along. So we will
Tune
be.
in.
Yep, we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, you lead us off. Where do you want to go with Resident
I just want
Evil?
to get your guys' thoughts initially on the two parallel timelines, the future and the present.
I'm
How do
glad you
guys feel
started there
about
because
this?
I wanted to start there as well because that
at the
was
beginning.
something that in the beginning. This was something that I really felt had a lot of potential. Honestly, like this use, at least in like in a show like this where you have a lot of runtime, like you have a lot of screen time to do stuff like this, where you can spend half the show in the future or in the past. I thought that was really, really fun. But unfortunately for me, it went the route where I didn't care about the things that were really happening on either side of the timeline. And I'm like, this sucks because I'm not liking Jade like at all. I didn't like her in the future. I didn't like her in the past. Like I feel like I liked her more in the future.
I like
or
her
the
more
present
in the
day.
past. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Like, okay.
In the future,
I,
she's making some fucking selfish, dumb character decisions where like I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
be
Oh,
on board with
100%.
this at all. It's just
100%. I guess there's moments where I guess there's moments where I like both of them and then dislike both of them. But
which is not a
yeah.
bad thing because I think
Yeah.
I don't like they're
You're
not
right.
trying to portray her actions as. They're not trying to they're trying to do the whole Walter White thing where she's desperate and she's making some choices. I just think that some of the choices were just so dumb. I understand we're jumping now to like the second last episode, but they're working the future, the present day storyline is all about like we got to find a cure for what's going on, right? But to check this, they've had all the experiment. They got to find I can't remember what they called them. What were
Zeros.
they? Zeros. Thank you very much. So she has to test it on one of these, and they literally say like, "Hey, you got to get that confirmed first." So it's not even like they shoot her down. They just say like, "Hey, this just has to go through the right channels. Just wait a second." But she can't wait. She has to try it on Zero now. And the fact that she puts a Zero attached to this wall with these straps, which like the straps look worn, and this is where it's just like Walter White makes bad choices, right? But he makes bad choices because literally there's minor spoilers for Breaking Bad. Just for an example, right? Walter has cancer and he was screwed out of some money from a company, but those people do the right thing. They sit him down and say, "Hey, we'll pay for your cancer treatment." Sure, it would go against his pride, but we could pay for it. You'd be set for life. But no, what does he do? He says no, and he becomes a criminal. Even once he has enough money to pay for all his cancer treatment, he still continues to be a criminal and do terrible things. So you're kind of like, okay, I understand you're making that morale choice, but Walter White is smart about the decisions he's making. She's making this bad morale choice and also using these straps that are like worn and everything like that. And I like what I hate is the daughter walks in and sees her working on the Zero, and she's like, "You stay right there, like don't move." Like it's just, even if you think this thing's fine, like get her out of there. And that's where it's just I did like that they made her feel at least reluctant or like kind of remorseful about the decision. They brought it up more than once, but I think that was my problem, that she was making some bad decisions, but they just felt kind of lackadaisical, like very easily bad decisions, just dumb decisions where it's like, how does she survive the song? You know, she's making these decisions now. So, what about you, Tay? Where were you on Jade?
I mean, I'm just gonna be mirroring what you basically said. Like, I liked her more in the past. Uh, I I liked her between the two sisters. Like, I think I like both of them more in the past, but just
I
with
agree.
Jade, like her,
Oh, yeah.
Especially the other, what was her
Especially
sister?
Billy.
Billy.
Bi-
Oh
oh
my God.
yeah. I did not care for Billy in the present day at
God,
all.
man,
No.
that's where I was like, how many episodes left when I got introduced
Yeah.
to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Jade though, that whole thing where she brought in the. Do you hear that?
Travis is having a raid.
No, I think that's Shay whistling at your dog, isn't it?
No, that's Madison whistling at the cat.
Oh, okay.
We're all blaming each other like a Mexican standoff.
Well, I didn't know you whistled at a cat. You know, I thought you
Yeah,
whistled at a
we
dog.
do in ours. But yeah,
Like,
with
people whistle to pussy all the time, but I didn't think
Ooh.
this to go around. So.
Ayo.
yeah, with Jade, she that whole stunt where she brought in the Zero and was just, I get the mentality they're trying to insinuate here. Like, she's very much like her dad Wesker, and she's just making a mistake, putting the science. Does this with her fucking daughter right there? Are you absolutely insane? And yeah, sure enough, like, what she did discover was absolutely awesome. But yeah, just the poor lady just having the baby, gets mauled. Oh God!
And even
damn
that
it.
was weird because they're having this play, right? And they're really trying to set up that she's like her dad. She's setting it's like she's not taking care of her daughter, but just she's not around because she's trying to save the world, make it better, and fix her dad's mistake. But her daughter's about to have this recital, and even her friend, was it Anita or what was the friend that was pregnant? I can't remember. We're not going to be able to pull that. But anyway, the other scientist that gets killed by the Zero when it breaks away. When she's back, they're working on this like equation, and they're all standing around. But she's like, "Oh, you get the recital. Like, just go. I'll look over this when you get back. We look into it more." But then she like texts her during the recital, like, "You're not gonna believe the results." And then she like leaves her daughter's recital in the middle. So I just was like, why do you have to leave? You leaving is not going to change anything. Like, she's got it. Like, she has the equation. She's watching it. So that's where I felt like if they wanted to do that storyline, there's other ways they could have done it. And I guess I don't know I think Kirklin mentioned it, but for myself, as far as like the past and the future stuff, I don't mind it. It's very tough because I come from what put me off about that show Arrow was I hated. I always want to be in the present day, and every episode there's a flashback to the past. But I think this was warranted because you're trying to explain the story of how the Earth went to shit, how these characters' lives went to shit. And I think if you went in chronological order, it definitely would not get any mainstream because you would just like leave all that zombie stuff. Like, imagine if all the past stuff was from start to the middle. I think you wouldn't get that. But I at first, the first 4 episodes, let's say the first half, I was not caring. I didn't like episode 1 because I messaged Taylor. I'm like, is this a Resident Evil or is this like a high school drama show? Because that's the first episode. It's like it ends with them finally being like, what's going on at Umbrella? But the first episode is just about dating and this and that. And it's like, I'm all down for that. Check out your 4-year review. But I need that somewhat well done, nowadays to get into that. So I wasn't liking that. And I even found up until the sister got introduced, which I don't think Billy's even the greatest, but I found the present day stuff of her just going around getting caught, Umbrella looking for her. I was invested at all. I was all more about the past storyline than I was the present day stuff because it was just, I don't think the CGI was bad, but like stuff like the giant worm, I don't think it really worked to the extent that they wanted to. So I was more into the past until about the middle portion. Once Jade got back on the boat and she had that interaction with her sister, I was wanting to see more of that future, but I wasn't really digging much of the present day stuff when we first started. Taylor, where were you on the timelines?
Well, I mean, I was just thinking back to when you were asking, like, oh, is this more like a TV or a high school drama and stuff? And I think I accurately answered that in terms
Like, no,
of,
you fucking idiots, Resident Evil. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. that was
I didn't
sharp
interpret
reply.
it as being more so investing in like what their lives are like in high school. I mean, at least until like I think this penultimate episode, they kind of dabbled back into that when Billy thought she was going to be biting the bullet, I guess. But no, I as far as the timelines go, like I'm much more invested in what was going on in the past, just because that story is a kicker for me. Where even with the movies, the original, the first two, I like that first one, but the second one I really, really like because that's when it's all outbreak at Raccoon City. And this was, again, like the past timeline was leading into that. This is new Raccoon City. And I like that this timeline exists where Raccoon City did happen, but this is just the fallout of it. And I very much like the past where we're getting this kind of thing. It's reminiscent of that, what the games were. It's reminiscent of the original Raccoon City incident, and that's what I like a lot more than what we have in the Apocalypse. Um, Even with the movies, we had 4 of the films in the Apocalypse and 2 dealing with the kind of the falloutness of the T virus, and in this, like, that's why I was just gravitating more because Wesker was so much more like he's only in the past sequences of the timeline, and that's some of the most juiciest components to this is what Wesker is trying to do. And as soon as we get that episode where the dog breaks out, I love that whole scene. I thought it was fantastic, and when it just mauls her, mauls Billy, I thought like shit, this is wild. Like what's gonna happen here? This is crazy, and yeah, no, I'm more on the past train, and I'm hoping that we do get more of that going forward. Again, I'm scared because if we don't get that second season, it doesn't matter.
I don't think
But
you're
if
getting it.
you don't think we're gonna get the second season, or we wouldn't get flashbacks of like
Both.
the past timeline.
Well,
Really?
I think you'd get a little bit because they didn't show the sisters. They didn't show the complete break apart, right? Of when they leave, they left with Albert. So I think maybe you would get some more. I guess I'll take that back. I think you'd get less, but maybe that's just the crutch of the show that they would have used the whole time. But no, I don't know if we'll get a second season because I saw it was trending a little bit, but I just haven't seen many people talking about this. But I'm not opposed. See where it goes, and I think you're right. Obviously, they did leave it on a big cliffhanger, and that's what I want to talk about with the present timeline where they introduce Billy, right? And then right away she's a bad guy, and I go, oh, we've seen this story before where the sisters are driven apart and they're gonna go head to head. And then when it was that moment of, oh no, actually she's had a change of heart, or she's actually just want to reunite with her sister and she had a good guy turn, I was like, and I guess you could say it fooled me, but I was just more hoping like, oh, good, we're not going down the generic like sister versus sister route. I like this idea that Billy's still on the inside, she can't get out, but she still misses her sister. But no, a couple episodes later, you reveal that it's been her all along. She has that fucking rich lady as a robot, and she's out to get her blood and all this sort of shit. And just I was disappointed. It's like, okay, we've seen this done before and likely done better, but yeah, and I don't think I'm sorry. I don't think that actress was the strongest that played Billy, and I didn't feel with the 2 young actresses. I felt a connection there as far as like a sisterly bond.
Yeah.
Did not feel it here. Now you could say, well, they've been separated for years, so yeah, true. But it just felt like even if I bump into a friend that I haven't seen in years, there's like a bond that's still there and a chemistry that you pick up. Where this just didn't feel like that. So I was hoping that they weren't going to go down this route, and they did. And yeah, she shoots her. I get stupid stuff like in TV shows, generic, where she's going to take the kid, Jade's kid, and she shoots Jade in the stomach, goes to shoot her head, but then when Jade wakes up, she's flying off helicopter. Why she wouldn't kill her and shoot her head, I don't know. Jade's going to do nothing but be after her. So I thought it was like a valid cliffhanger, like, oh shit, what is going to happen? Because you got to go. But yeah, I was not a fan of Billy in present day.
Yeah, no, me neither. I I liked her a lot more in the flashbacks, but even then I felt like on one hand, it's an interesting story element of having her just slowly getting infected and like just kind of being weirder and weirder.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I I think just because like I've seen that before, I was expecting something different, and then we like didn't really go that route. She just was becoming more and more erratic, and it just I don't know. I don't want to put too much on the actress because I feel like a lot of it is just like the writing around her. Like she was just kind of asked to do weird things. She just started biting people, and I think I was just like by that point, or yeah, by the time that change was happening with that character, I was just so kind of out of the show. Like it just kind of ungripped me, and then I really, yeah, I mean when I met her in the present day, it was wow, what a caricature. Like it was hard to believe that was the same person, and that like motivations change. Now she's like a bad person, but it just wasn't believable for me that those were even like the two the same. They just seemed so different for me, and yeah, I get it. There's a big time skip, of obviously between the young actress and the older one, but it seems so disconnected for me. And I think the Jade one, like I can kind of meet like most of the way there, but still like their motivations, they just seem like very different people. And again, like maybe I'm just being too harsh here because people do change. Like they were really young in those early moments, but she just seemed like a completely different person. But again, maybe I was just bringing too much hate to the show because I was just out of it by that point.
That one scene with Billy when it was in the present, and the main chick we thought was the villain just comes in, does the dance number.
Dude,
and then
that
Billy
is what I
comes
was
in and
burst out
laughs. I was
laughing
like,
when
"What
Travis
the
was talking.
fuck?"
I couldn't believe
Well,
what I was seeing. I hear Dua Lipa on
It was Dua Lipa. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. My girl. Like, I will give the show.
It's like it's the fucking intro of
Did a
Peacemaker
full
right now.
180. Yeah, I will give it to this show, which they did a good job because it's set in 2022. They had Dua Lipa, they had Billie Eilish. There was someone else too, but they had some current music, and current music are hits. Unfortunately, that's probably what they spent a lot of the budget on. But I will give that because they had two Dua Lipa songs. But yeah, when that. when that dance scene happened, I think that's supposed to be this like big revelation. We're like, shit, what's going on? But it felt
Shit,
goofy.
what was going on?
And I just was like, oh, stop it. Like, don't do this right here. And we did it. Full Monty.
It literally was that where like I couldn't look. He's
Yeah.
like too cringy. Like I can't believe this is happening right now. Poor
She's,
actress
like, all
has
the way
to go.
You want me to do what? And I'm sure they thought, oh, this is going to be a
Director's
great
like that wasn't good enough. Do it again.
on the set for 3 hours. Do it again. But like, just thinking that's the big reveal, like her being a robot. And I feel like we all kind of, it's not a big reveal because we kind of pick up that like everyone else is aging and she has.
Well, no, she's not a robot. It was the control drug, right? 'Cause she kept taking.
Yeah,
too much of
you're
that
right.
Drug, right?
She's robotic
Joy.
and stuff. But why does she look still young age? That's just what the drug's doing.
Maybe it is. Well, it could be the drug. Just good.
Because
makeup,
everyone
I
else has
guess.
aged like at least 10 to 15 years, and she looks like the exact same with it, unless it's scratch with her face, you know. But yeah, you're right. It was the drug, but still, just that sort of way of, just even the song. It was just weird because she's dancing and it just stops and it cuts and just it was just I did not like that character. She was probably my least favorite in the show. Again, I try not to. That scene I don't blame her for because that takes a Oscar-winning actor to maybe make that work. The
music was just so out of place in that moment. I just come on. And the most, Sorry.
Yeah. I did not like that character at all. We spent way too much screen time with her. I don't think the acting, or I'll say the directing of the actress, whatever it may be, was good. This just felt like a very cheesy CW 2000s type of like comic book super, or like even Bond villain, like lower tier ones, and she would have fit right in like the world is not enough era. And I did not like much of the character. They probably just should have kept it at her being the evil boss, just pushing this, and they did a little bit. And she tried to say, "Oh, like I could stop suicide and stuff like that." But that was fine with the Office. It was more like when she was out of home or with her son. Sure, they gave like this big twist where she like kills her son. So it's like, okay, that's valid. They made her do some big move here, but every time we were with her, I felt, I just would rather this episode be shorter or be spending it with somebody else right now.
So you didn't care for her having like this relationship with her wife and just like drugging her and all that stuff?
I don't think it's not I can't say it's not necessary to the show, but yes, I can say I didn't care about it because they're already enforcing this drug's bad enough, and here's the thing. The drug is bad. They established that from episode 1, and they pretty much established this lady is bad from episode 1. So the fact that they need to go, well, she's giving this bad drug to her wife, which makes her a bad person, didn't need that. Her already wanting to just put this in the market and not tell people what it does. That was bad enough. I didn't need this stuff with her wife or even son necessarily.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because it's like they were trying to show, like, oh no, there's more layers to this character. Like she's not all evil, but then by the end of it, she was all evil. Like she killed her own son.
Yep.
The wife. They have this like weird scene when the wife first gets there, and then she's like talking to Wesker, I think, or Albert. And then they just like have a fight, and it's just it's a couple minutes, or at least it felt like it, because it felt like a long time, and then it's just like, oh no, yeah, that happened. It was just like, why is this even in this episode? Like, it's so weird. And then next time she's talking about her, it's like, oh no, we're all good now. And then like, okay, I'll give. I think I can give it to them to just show more evil elements of her, like drugging her wife and then shooting the son, and that kind of being a big moment. Like the actress was selling like how much weight was there, but still she's so evil, so the evil just overpowered her decision there. But like I said, like the beginning, or like you said, the beginning she's evil and by the end she's evil. So why even include these moments? Like we could have just had shorter episodes, and I would have been
agree.
game for that.
Yeah, I would have been very game for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess we should. Well, let's take another ad break, and then maybe we'll talk about Wesker, because I think we just danced around, but he's a big part of this. So we will be right back. And we're back. So with Wesker, it was a very interesting route they took with him. Now, this is one thing I can't remember, and this is here spoilers right now, because I have played these games again, but these are one of these things where it's like I feel like the first 4 games plots all are just mashed in my brain, as far as like that's why I really want to play the remakes. I've bought into the remakes, just haven't had time to play them at all. But I really want to. I should get to that this summer. Fucking, I still got to finish Elden Ring, all this shit. You got Gotham Knights coming out. You got fucking Midnight Suns coming out Thanksgiving. I digress, but the cloning, is that something? I feel like, is that something he did do, or was there some variation of that in the games? Because I know he's a villain that would always keep popping up, so I wasn't sure if that was part of it, or was that a new wrinkle to added to it?
No, I think that is relevant. I'll have to double check.
He's always a shady guy, up to shady things,
and he had like powers, like
Yeah.
the Wesker. And then when they were calling him Wesker, that was like the Wesker that I remembered, wearing like that Blade outfit and like having those superpowers
Fuck.
where he just like couldn't get fucked up, or by her.
Yeah, he's
protagonist.
enhanced. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's and like to his nickname. Now I get it, because like there's not much you can do, because like me and Taylor were talking about this. Like that's what Wesker does look like. He's black gear, black trench coat, but they even gave him like the flat top, like Wesley Snipes. Like they should have done something. It's not a big deal, but they should have changed the color. They could have like the hair was something where it's like hair and the shades together. It's like he just looks like he is
His
cosplaying.
mannerisms too, because he goes
Yes.
up like, "Are you listening to music?" He's like, "That's how Blade would react." Like, what's
Yeah,
this Blade?
and I feel like we'll get to see Ali how it's gonna be different, but it's just like, yeah, it took me out of it when he came up. I was like, oh my god, what's happening? But I thought it was fun, because obviously if you've played the series at all, you know that name. You go, okay, this is a bad guy. So for the viewers, like people that didn't know, they wouldn't know. But for us, we're like, oh, we know this guy is gonna be bad, or something's more to him. But the whole show, he's not really played that way. It starts to reveal that there's some stuff to him, and there's some shade to like the father version, but it's still not necessarily bad. Like he is taking the girl's DNA, but it's more so just to try to help himself out and stuff. Like, and they view that's selfish at one point, but then eventually they take that back and they understand. But I liked how they played with it, where the Wesker we met was not that Wesker that's like the Resident Evil lore, as far as like the very bad person that's gonna mess things up. And just even that video, and they're like, I don't care, shoot the bitch, and they're like, why is Dad saying this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I thought that was all done well. I think the actor did a good job of playing them different versions. I think he's the highlight of the show, and I'm just glad that there was clones
Absolutely.
and everything, because if he did die and we got a second season, like, oh, we'll get more of him. But whether it was the relationship with the girls, whether his reaction, the only time I'd have critique is his like surprise face. He'd always just do this like look up all the time, like, and it just was like the exact same face, like every time, like every time. I was like, do we not got another
It's like
surprise
the
face?
Rock's eyebrow raise.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like this one look.
But like his whole body would raise, like, oh, I'm surprised right now. But I think that's the strongest thing with the show, is not only his acting, but what they do with the character of the guess the game, who's bad, these clones, the revelations of why he got to be a part of Umbrella, the moments where the daughter, that one girl's picking on his daughter Billy, and he just goes in there and threatens that guy's job and livelihood and stuff. And it's just like, that's where us as the game players, or if you have any knowledge, go, oh, that's where the asshole Wesker could be in there, because look at what he's doing. But then he's always doing these nice things. He's covering up for the girls, make sure they don't get in trouble. So I think what they're trying to go for with other characters, with the variety of complexion and the variety of emotions in the gray area. I think I don't know if I can say nailed, but got close to nailing with Wesker and the variations of him. So I loved Albert. I love when he goes to the restaurant. She's like, unlimited breadsticks. That's why I have my name. They're just like, just changes the tells him like, shut the fuck up and answer the questions. Like, put the goddamn menu down. He's trying to drive, and when he's blocking the parking lot line, he's like, why are these people honking? They're so rude. They're like, you're parked in the fucking zone, because obviously he hasn't been in life. So, but yeah, that definitely the glowing star of this show is Wesker and that actor.
Yeah, absolutely. Lance Reddick, that's his name. I've seen him in like a handful of things.
Mhm.
I remember him being in Lost, and
Oh,
I feel like
okay.
everything else he was in, I feel like he kind of played that same type of like initial Albert Wesker that like we get in the beginning of the show. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like he's great in those roles, so like this is gonna be great. And I remember seeing him in the trailers, and I mean, we saw him like coating his face in blood in the trailer. So I figured there's gonna be some weird stuff going on with him. And I definitely wasn't disappointed. I think when we found all the other Weskers, like the clones, and he was doing all the different versions, it just threw me off because I've never seen that actor like act that way before. Like, yeah, his goofiness when he was being Bert, I think.
Yeah, Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he was fantastic, and I think he did a really good job at being sus, being intimidating, like that office scene you shouted out, but also like trying to be that father, but knowing that he's not a good father. Like he's doing what he kind of can. Definitely favoritism towards Billy, it seems, but it's kind of revealed that's I don't know.
I think he kind of went back and forth. It seems like that's what I like. But and I'd say for this show, yes, it was Billy.
Yeah.
For the era we were meeting him in. And
Yeah, exactly. But I thought he was good, and it was interesting because the moments when he was being like a father to the two girls, my gosh, got a little frog in my throat. I was like waiting for him to be like that Wesker of just like a bad guy, but it didn't really happen. And then when we got the video, I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. And then when we got the clone reveals, like I don't want to say it blew my mind or anything, but it was just like, oh, okay, we're getting this, and this is what we're dealing with now. And yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Like Lance was absolutely fantastic as Wesker. I love the performance. Again, that was a huge component pulling me into the show. Just going into the past scenes, just with Wesker dealing with everything, and just how he's trying to balance like you mentioned, Kirklin, the work, the personal life, everything like that. He's literally always working, and the weird blood thing where he's like injecting himself, just trying to understand like, okay, what's really going on here? Why is he doing this? There's some shady shit happening, and yeah, getting that footage, which is a great nod to one of the original Resident Evil titles there, where you see him going up to the girl, I can't remember her name, and just she does anything, I shoot the bitch and all that stuff, like just totally turning in the different shade of Wesker there. But yeah, him and Bert, like I really like the two of them. Shame the third clone got popped. He didn't make it out. But I mean, as far as we know, the OG Wesker is still alive. He's still out there, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm assuming between how they played that off at the finale, we know that Albert died. Bert is the one who died. Albert died, sorry, in the explosion. Bert died in, I guess, because that's what Billy says. And that leaves just the original Albert Wesker left. So next time we see him, it should be like the bad version.
yeah, that's what I would hope, because that's where I don't know if we'll get the other season, but that's probably the main reason why I'd want that season, to see that Wesker bopping around, to meet the two daughters and stuff like that. The adopted daughters. I think there'd be fun there, but I don't know if that'll happen.
One thing I do want to point out too, that when he started doing the weird like blood on the face thing, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Is he trying to like get infected with the T virus? Is he just super like just soaking it in? But
Infect me.
yeah. The one kicker though, like they brought the full brigade like to deal with the situation, but the delay, if you know you're housing a fucking T virus living creature in your facility and shit just goes sideways, and there's like, how long did it take for them to actually respond and get there? It took them fucking forever, and this is their property. They own the whole new Raccoon City, and it took them how long? Like a goddamn full 40-minute episode's worth to get there. It's just atrocious.
Not a good response time.
No, no.
No.
There's some stuff with Umbrella too. Like when they find them on the boat, they like made it seem like, oh man, they're like invading. But then it was like a very slow, like, oh, they just want to talk, and they're like just over there, like they're not really much of a threat. And then they did threaten them, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna just keep going with more Umbrella stuff,
Mm.
particular with our agent of the future. This guy, man, I really didn't like this guy
Discount
at
Jack
all.
Black. That's who he is.
Yeah.
No, he was like just always trying to be humorous in his dialogue, and 0% worked for me. It was brutal, and yeah, it really brought like the effect of Umbrella, at least with like him being like the like the main general on the field, just so lesser. I'm like, holy shit, is Umbrella just ran by like clowns here? Like, this is so bizarre. Really didn't like that stuff. I guess we mentioned the female baddie, forget her name.
Was it
Evelyn.
Evelyn? Yeah.
Evelyn, yeah. So yeah, mentioned my didn't really care for that character. So I feel like all of the players in Umbrella, it just really wasn't appealing to me that much. Other than Wesker, I guess, because there's just a lot of mystery around him. Like you didn't really understand his full role, like initially. You know that he works there, but you don't really know what his main title. You know he's important, but you don't know his main title. And I think the stuff that worked for me on Umbrella is just like what we always get with Umbrella. It's this corporation. They have labs, they have money, and they have this thing, and like just the symbol and what it represents. I think that's what works for me, like with the Umbrella stuff. But like it doesn't take much for them to do that, right? Like it's just the set alone and like where we are in Raccoon City, like all that stuff is appealing to me. I liked, again, like I shouted out the visuals and the non-spoilers, but like I liked all their designs of their labs and everything. And their soldiers, I liked how they looked, like they're they're fully geared, like they're ready to take on things. So I like all that stuff, but unfortunately when we got like the people representing Umbrella, I didn't really love it other than Wesker.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that's a big reason why I didn't enjoy those first few episodes of The Present, because that was that main villain kind of hunting her down. And then I was really worried when they were working together. I'm like, oh man, he's gonna be with us for the whole show. I did appreciate that she's climbing up the shaft when he got like God and started to get grabbed. He just was like, oh my God, no, or he's like, God no, and he just kind of gave up, and she can't do anything else but give up. But so I was happy he was not with us the whole time. So
Well, he was like, "Let go of the bag, Jade. Let it go." Like he's just, yeah, it's just an asshole. And then he whipped out like, "I got 2 kids. You think I want to be out here?" He pulls out the photo of his 2 dogs. Like,
yeah.
yeah, very peculiar. Some of the things was just super weird that I kind of chuckled at, like when he was interviewing the old lady and he had the cookie and he made some comment about the raisins. You know, he's like, "Fuck chocolate."
Are these
chips or
chocolate
something
chips?
Like that. Yeah. It's so weird.
That's fair. That's fair. Like, and like the way he bit it too, it's just like hard as a fucking rock, like the worst possible cookie that you could have, probably. Fair enough. That one I did
Yeah.
chuckle at that moment.
Yeah, there were very peculiar things, but I just thought like he just feels like a Jack Black but discount version, and yeah, like I did appreciate though when he got out of the jail cell and he just fucking popped off in his fight scene. I was like, okay,
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy knows how to fucking dance. Like he's going to town. That's why Umbrella has him because he's a good
yeah.
fighter. So that was cool.
Didn't get him far enough to survive, but
No, because he couldn't get up that fucking ladder. That's
No.
the downside there.
also
That
those
whole-
are. Oh, go ahead.
Nope, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say in the early episodes of One Shot, I didn't mind the segment too of the woman. I feel like we've seen this in multiple zombie shows before, but the woman that had her husband like in the bathroom thinking he was gonna be okay. Again, it's a trope, but I don't mind that trope. It would kind of work for me. If Jade like has to get the info out of his pocket and stuff like that, and she's feeding him like the cats and stuff. So
Yeah.
good stuff
Yeah,
there.
she was a sick fuck, that's for sure. God damn it. That sequence where they were underground and that whole like French prison kind of thing, I thought it was cool because we got to see like the Zero that was kind of hyper intelligent, and in fact, it was just gross with the big boils on her neck and everything. But her like cutting the head off of that one, and you get the guy with the burlap sack on his head, chainsaw and everything like that. But what do you guys think of the whole hierarchy among the Zeros?
I don't mind. It's kind of feels similar to Resident Evil, where they just kept evolving, and it started zombies, so they're getting bigger and whether it's like strong or like we saw the fucking worm thing earlier on and stuff like that. So I liked that. They definitely, obviously, because other shit starts to happen, they drop that plot point near the end of the thing because she doesn't have time to really look into it. She's wanted to. She's explained to her daughter like, oh, they can communicate, but then Umbrella shows up. So I think it'd be like a good idea to explore in a fellow season, but I almost don't know if it was needed here because I like the whole point of the science stuff was to just kind of find a cure. Like that's what I thought they were doing. So the fact that they could talk together, I guess, is like a fun fact and give something to those zeros, but it doesn't. It didn't really fold into the rest of the show.
Yeah. I feel like I was maybe hoping for more when it was hinted at. I think it was in the first episode actually. Jade, she mentions how there's only like I don't know, however many people left in the world there is, but there's like 6+ billion of them. Like that was an interesting concept because I never really thought of it that way. Like you can't just kill them all at that point. So that was kind of an interest, and like again, that was introduced early on. So I'm like, oh, there's gonna be some interesting plot stuff, and unfortunately, they didn't go much further. Like they dug a hole, but it wasn't in the right location for me where the treasure was. But
I looked at my notes. I got nothing else. Do you guys have anything else to shout out here?
How'd you guys feel about the scientist reporter guy that came out whipped out to New Raccoon City, and he was kind of like on the inside of what happened in, was it Venezuela? Was where it was? Yeah, I guess
He
they had
knew a
an
lot.
outbreak.
He had a lot. He knew about the daughters. He knew about everything. So no, I think I liked the character. I liked him for what he was, which was pretty much just an exposition machine and to kind of point the girls in the right direction. So I liked him enough. I actually was surprised. Like obviously, it probably was a better death than Umbrella was going to give him, but I was surprised that Albert killed them. I didn't think that was going on, but
Well, he didn't. Well, I guess he is technically dead because he was the zombie at the end, right?
well, I would personally count that as dead. That's what I would. Yeah, that's not a life that I want to be living and stuff like that. But no, I think it was a good fold and everything into it. So
What
yeah,
about you, Kirkland?
I don't know. It didn't do that much for me. I'll leave it there.
You're hoping he's gonna get killed.
Like I feel like again, like at that point, I was just like, whatever happens at this point. Like I'm so not invest. Like I don't even want to say like I didn't care about the show because I was still like, fuck, I've seen this much. Like I want to know what happens when Jade and Billy actually meet at the end. Like what's gonna happen? Is Wesker gonna show up? Like I had to check these boxes of things that were gonna happen. And then by the end of it, it was just like a flat soda. Like it just it didn't do much for me. There was sugar in there, but it didn't really affect me.
a flat soda. Well, you know what? That's what people might be thinking. And if you pull down your trousers and you just got a mess going on there, because thanks to Manscaped, you can get that jungle out of here. You know, the good thing about Manscaped, they're no umbrella. They're not lying to you. They're not selling you a false bill of goods. Everything they're promising you is true. Nice taint areas, nice smooth, almost near cock regions, good smelling stuff, especially right now, man. You can probably see my forehead. I am sweating right now. So you want the ball reviver, you want the crop reviver, everything, and the lips. Manscaped has you covered for this summer right now. That's the best time you want to be doing it. And whether it's the 4.0, the lawnmower, the plow, the weed whacker, you know, now it's time. Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm just completely gone, but that's okay. It's look at all those good gloriousness things. And you put them back up. It's not about me. It's about the product, you know. Put it back up. It's fine. But shampoos, 2-in-1s, that's a good thing about Manscaped right now is they have so many products that it would take an hour to almost list them off and tell you all about them. That's why you got to go to the website and read for yourselves. You can either get them individually or you can get the big packages. That's the ones I think we'd all recommend because you get the boxers, you get the t-shirt, you get the guards, all that sort of deal. And yeah, Taylor, right now is the season. Right now is that season where it is hot. You do not want to be rocking a little extra gruff going around. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And again, go to the website because when I was looking up to get some, like, refill some of my products, they were giving me free shipping, and that is a huge kicker. So when you use that discount code and you get the free shipping in there too, it's literally pennies and you're getting great products for it. So that's a huge incentive. But I was preaching to these guys in our chat the other day. Like, I was sweating at work. We got no AC, and my whole body is absolutely drenched. Like I was in the pool, except for one thing: my nether regions down below in the Precious Valley. It was completely dry, completely
Precious
crisp and
Valley.
cool. And like, it's fucking outstanding. Like, there's one thing people are like coming to my work, and they're like, you know what, like. I don't smell anything. I'm like, that's right, because that's Manscaped, baby, and it's just fucking perfect.
Yeah, if he didn't have Manscaped, he'd be walking and be like, man, is that Taylor's balls again? Fuck. He doesn't have a Manscaped, though. 20% off free worldwide shipping. Isn't that right, Kirklin Patzer?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're talking about just like keep things smooth and like, you know, the products are fantastic, but I always like to shout out just their containers in general. Like,
Yes.
fuck, they're made so
Packaging's
like
great.
high quality, and again, like I love the shape of the deodorant. It's so unique. It's so different from what I would normally use in deodorant. We'll bring Travis back on screen. But like, yeah, no, like 100%. So, you know, we're doing our Predator retros right now, and where do the Predators go? They go where it's fucking hot. So if you're not careful, you're gonna find Predators in your crab areas down there, in your your foresty bush. There's gonna be a jungle of Predators down there. So you gotta make sure
Absolutely.
you get the Lawnmower 4.0, shave those nether regions, and you'll go
Yeah.
from like over 100 degrees right down to basically sub-zero. Especially when you get in the crop preserver, the anti-chafing cream, and everything like that. You know, I was applying some to my marbles earlier on. I was just reading the bottle, and right there it says like for long time sitting. Exactly what we're doing right now. So if you don't want to get some itchy stank going down there, apply some crop preserver and get your marbles ready for action.
I guarantee you when Bert got out, he had to get some Manscaped because he must have had just a mountain
Oh,
going
yeah.
on there. You know, you talk about some jungles. He must have
Oh.
had multiple He must have had Pandora down there. But the good thing is, hopefully, he's listening to GeekVerse podcast. Say, oh, Manscaped, got to do that.
He
So
used our
Reek
code.
too. I'm
he
sure
used our
he's got
code,
a-
of course, because Manscaped provides the best in below the belt in men's grooming. So go over there, manscaped.com, use our podcast code GVPOD to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. You can do this all the way to September. And as always, if you support our sponsors, you're supporting us. So big thank you to everybody. So, any last notes on the show before we give the final thoughts and a rating? Characters, moments, robots dancing.
Fucking Christ. That was a shock moment for me. I mean, we didn't mention the dog. That was a big like promo thing, and again, that's I don't know if it pops in all the Resident Evil games and movies, but I remember that so vividly from that first Resident Evil, like in that mansion scene playing on the PS1. It scared the absolute living shit out of me as a kid, and back then it probably had 8 pickles, 8 pixels.
8 pickles.
Oh,
Shave
it's
your
a late-
pickles
it's a
with
late night.
Manscaped.com.
Shave your pickles. 8 pixels on that thing, but so it sure looked good on the Netflix show. And
Did it?
I
had to push back.
thought
I don't
so.
think it
Yeah?
did.
No?
It
Okay.
just looked too fake for me. It just like it never
It
looked
definitely
real.
fair.
it wasn't a real dog like they had in their
Oh,
movies.
no shit. I knew
No.
it was a
Movies,
real
the
dog.
movie ones were definitely
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, the movie ones were fantastic, but I at least liked the inclusion. I think it was because it happened earlier on in the show. It was still like had those rose tinted glasses of like, oh man, Resident Evil! Like I can't wait to what's gonna happen in these next few episodes. So mysterious, and then
Did
took a full 180. So fitting.
Oh, we gotta get that clip for the show, man. We gotta find that clip. Fuck, it's so good. Oh,
But yeah, like I don't know. I don't have much else to add. We shouted out some fun scenes like the zombie in the bathroom. That was a fun one. And yeah, like first episode when Jade's getting chased by those zombies again. Like we had a zoom in of the zombies. I thought they all looked good when we had future Jade in like that compound where she was kind of just taken to be sold off to Umbrella. And then like the red flare goes in the air. Like I loved all those set pieces. Like they looked really good, and that was fun. Unfortunately, some dialogue brought it down, but all in all, I don't know. It brought me to Raccoon City, and that's a thumbs up because Welcome to Raccoon City. I was gonna watch that. I've only heard bad things, so I don't know. I'm kind of avoiding.
I
it
still
at the-
plan to at
the
some point. You
meantime.
know, it's on the bucket list. now.
God, it's
Found
already
the
on there.
video.
Oh, of course I
Oh,
found the
man.
video. Oh, let's see.
Audio
here.
or no audio?
I should be able to. There has to be an audio way because I saw someone else do it too recently with this, but I always am lazy. I never look it up how you do it, but at least I can.
Oh, we got audio.
Oh, do we? Do you hear it?
We have audio.
What?
Jade's reaction was my reaction.
Oh yeah.
It's just, the leg kick is what I love, man. Oh my god.
It just doesn't feel like Umbrella.
It's so random.
It was such a ship, and I just remember the first time, like, we're getting this moment, and, and I knew they were gonna, because I had already had some theory that Billy was controlling her or something like that, right? And I'm like, they're gonna get some reveal, especially with it being in the dark. I'm like, okay, here it comes. But I was
So
not.
you knew this was gonna happen.
No. I knew the reveal of Billy controlling her was gonna happen. Me thinking this was going to be the opening of the reveal is fun. And you're right about Jade's reaction. It's just like, oh, and they paid for this Dua Lipa song. It's just, and why would they make her dance as a big reveal? Oh.
Yeah, it's a question
Jade just
mark.
looks disgusted. She's like, oh.
Oh my god. Okay, so it was only 26 seconds. They make the video going for 40 seconds, but yeah, man, fuck, that was something.
That was something. Absolutely.
Yeah, my goodness. One more thing here. What do you guys think of the giant like T-virus infected things like the crocodile, the spider, and we did get like the classic like wall crawling things too, and like the underground pass too. So what was your thoughts on all the different monsters?
I liked him.
Yeah, I liked them enough. It didn't really make sense to me why the croc was just like friendly to be Jade's daughter.
So we knew that season 2, I guess.
She's just like a whisperer of the crocs. The T-virus. Are they infected with T-virus? Is that why they're so big?
I imagine that is,
Yeah.
but that's weird because like the zombie wanted to go after her, but God forbid that the crocodile doesn't. So.
Man, that one woman that had the 2 kids, and that one kid was just ripped apart in front of her, and then the other one was bit, and she just stayed with the die. Man, that was a bad Sunday, you know. Oof. She like the kid's just standing there. It's like the guy from Quiet Place, like and then just gone. Terrible.
It was terrible.
Full 180.
But God, no, I just picture it now, and the leg kick and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The leg kick is the prime thing.
But yeah, no, I like the big beasts. I feel like I expect that in a Resident Evil project, and you know, if I want to be hypercritical, I can pick apart some of the CGI with some of the things. But I don't know. I think it worked. I think the arachnids, they looked pretty damn freaky, and because it was in the dark, like it really helped them look good. And
Oh, fuck. You don't gonna just because you disagree with Kirklin doesn't mean you get mad. Okay, you gotta start doing a full 180.
Oh God, get this fucking chick.
I'm just gonna leave
that
that.
is terrifying.
Oh my God.
Oh, we just leave her there, you know. Oh man.
Oh, get me out of here. Oh. Fucking Christ.
Oh fuck, it's good. I'm
I
gonna
will-
save her there though.
Took a full 180.
I will. I do want one more thing I want to show too.
Yeah,
Just
we're
to
listening,
go back
right.
to the discount Jack Black. Fuck. But that scene when they escaped in the underground and he just pulls up, he's like, "So you have no idea like who they are, where they are," and the guy who's around the black market passageway thing, like, "No, sorry, I just don't know. You know, it's good business. Not gonna fucking tell you." And then Jade's fucking van pulls up behind him, and then the guy just Jack Black knockoff just starts to smile at this guy, like, fuck. Oh, you just know it's gonna happen.
Oh gosh. What else? I liked when Jade was trying to like crack the code, and again, this is something I always liked about Umbrella, that they're just like this entity that like they're so corrupt, it's like hard to kind of bring them down. And then like she was trying to find out more details, and they're all blocked, and then we had to go through Simon to find a little workaround to get it. And I don't know. I think I liked that dynamic enough. Poor Simon though. He's like trying to get in on this family. Billy bites him. Billy tells him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Like he's not making it with the with the sister at all.
But
So-
are we to assume that that's who impregnated her? I'm guessing, right? Because they say they never met the father of Jade's daughter, and then she
Simon?
meets this guy. Yeah, that's what I took it as.
Damn.
Like she
Yeah,
got
that's
pregnant when
possible.
she was
Yeah,
18. That's
that
around the
makes
age.
sense. Actually, the timeline. Yeah.
So that's what I think. That's why they never met. You know, unfortunately.
The more you know.
The more you know, exactly. Anything else,
I don't think so. I think I'm ready.
Kirkland? What would you give this show? What would you rate it?
Yeah. Like I said before, I think that this had a lot of potential. Even if this wasn't like a Resident Evil show, I think the concept of having like younger actors in the past and then like kind of splicing
What's this fucking guy doing? He can't remove himself from the room.
Give him the one.
He's-
Give him the one. This is the GeekVerse podcast right here.
Imagine if you gave him the one. Imagine if you gave him the one and expanded the screen and he was just naked and his cock is just like dangling there while he's fixing this.
No undies on. It's
Yeah.
fucking hot in there. He's gonna cool off his balls.
Just dual time here with Taylor. Just working away. He really punched his microphone hard. Fuck, he's really worried about it.
Oh my
Oh,
god! He did a
damn.
whole 180.
Yeah, just did a whole 180s right.
Oh, there. No, that's terrifying. God, get her out of there. Why does she keep popping up?
I'm keeping her here. You never know where you're gonna need her. Until I can get a photo of her for the stream. No, I'm gonna throw a clip, but
That is terrifying. So what was I talking about?
potential of the show.
Yeah, of like the flashbacks. I think like balancing that in a show. I think that's a fun concept, and it was a cool idea for sure. But unfortunately, the execution Taylor's really going to town. He's working hard.
He just looks like, you know, in those pornos when there's like some guy like I'm watching TV and in the background something's going on. He just looks like the chick where you kind of see something going on back there, but not fully. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I think it definitely I'm never gonna get my fucking rating out.
no.
Had potential, visuals were fun, but the dialogue fucking terrifying. The dialogue was not good for me, and the characters were just it wasn't enough to really make me get through the show. It honestly, the motivation for the show was, like I said, I just wanted to know what the end result was. I didn't really care what would happen with the characters. Like I wasn't really invested with them, but I still wanted to know. I was hoping for some cool visuals with some monsters and stuff, because that's just very Resident Evil things. And then I think Wesker, I was in on him, or I was in with him, and then I think like the second last episode, it was like, okay, like this is what I'm getting with him, and it wasn't as high as I thought I was gonna be on the character.
Okay.
So overall, fuck, what do I give this show? I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I
just a
don't know.
pass.
I don't know if I've ever given a show just a flat 5 out of 10, 50%. Yeah, it's. I think like the Resident Evil stuff was fun enough, and the visuals was enough to pass it. But the story, oh my gosh, this is killing me today. The story wasn't really good for me. And yeah,
What happened?
God, somebody tell us, take it away. I gotta get out of here. I don't want her staring at me.
All right,
It's for
Taylor,
you, the visual
take it away.
viewers, so you can't see her, but
Take it away, Taylor.
she's staring at me.
Oh,
Oh, he's
shit.
there. That was
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, that was terrifying. But yeah. Oh man, could we give her to? Oh fuck, we can just make it. Taylor could talk, and we could just make it look like she's talking for him. But yeah, I'm gonna give this 108 out of 180, which is 60%. I can still give it a 6 because I think I'm unlike you, where I still was happy with the end of Wesker and that storyline, everything. I like that he sacrificed himself to let Bert go live a life. There's times where I liked the show, and maybe I'm being a bit more positive. I'm giving it a nicer rating and stuff. Maybe I could be like Kirkland with a 5, but there are times where I was enjoying it and wondering what was going to happen next, and liking some of the elements they set up of the world. But a 6 out of 10 is just kind of that is a fresh, but I will probably never. I will not go back to watch the show. Now, I don't think we'll get a season 2, but season 2 would have to be like fucking amazing for me to go back and watch this. But I think it's just gonna be one of these things we talk about in 5 years. Like, oh man, remember when we reviewed Resident Evil season 1 and that was a thing, and that's will be it. So that's my final thoughts. So Taylor,
I'm
you ready
back.
to go? You're
Fuck,
back.
I really did whack that. I've had to really crank that fucking thing.
Wow.
You guys are fucking popping Evelyn up there. I'm fucking laughing and shit. Don't fucking do it. I see Evelyn. God damn, Evelyn. Oh,
All right. What's your score there, Taylor?
my score. It's probably fuck. It's probably gonna be. I would go 7.25 out of 10. Like there was some stuff like this that it just really didn't do it for me.
7.25. What a score.
Yeah, but I still have it on more of the positive. And just be fucking jacket coming down with the
Why
shoulders.
you never saw the jacket?
What's the jacket?
I never saw the
She drops
jacket
the jacket.
before. Oh my!
It's like, take a look at this.
Oh my god! I never saw that jacket. Oh, fuck.
I don't know how you missed that. Yeah, it's like
It just changed.
she lifts an
flinches.
eyebrow.
She flinches.
She
Jade
lifts a full
flinches. She's coming
eyebrow.
at her. Look at her. Takes a step back. Oh.
Oh man!
You can always associate the Dua Lipa song with this though.
I will. Fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7.25. It has some things that I do very much enjoy. A lot of the stuff was just in the past. Albert Wesker. I love seeing like the zombie stuff from the future or the present day. Like there's just some cool components there. And again, some of the character development I liked, but when we got to these characters in the present, it's just they call back to how Albert Wesker was and just Umbrella. And I didn't like how Umbrella was really represented in some cases, but I like the callbacks to how the daughters were in reflection of Albert Wesker. And then you mix in the subtle Easter eggs too from the games and stuff like that. Yeah, so fuck.
I'm sorry.
That's all I got.
I'm sorry, Taylor. You handled it well with that going on in the background. I wouldn't have.
Oh yeah, that was
It's just
class.
It's
class,
so
class all
not
the way.
Resident Evil. Like
No.
I'm still always I'm gonna put the movies over this. And even though those movies do fall apart in the back half of them, at least like it doesn't have any weird shit like this. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh no.
Double time
Double
speed.
version.
I'm just savoring it because we'll probably never watch this again. The clip's too long to bring up during cast and whatnot. But man, at least we had that moment.
You'll have to
from
bring it up
but-
once during cast just to fuck with Dylan or Jessica.
Yo, 100%. Just randomly, just obnoxiously.
Just ask them
"Full
what
one
this is from, and then see if they can
Yeah,
guess.
pick
Resident
one
Evil.
series.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We talked about Resident Evil. Who knows if there's a season 2? I don't think there will be, but if there is, maybe we'll be back for that. I don't know, but this was at least we got some good laughs here, so it was a fun one. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Promise when you hear from us next, not be boring.
Peace.